Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Tuesday night in the never ending snow pattern that we're in here in the Northeast and in the Northern Mid Atlantic states. The Joe and Joe Show proudly brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, 631 756 1125. They are going to be open tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. to help you with the cleanup of this latest winter mess that's coming in. And it's going to be a fluffy snow, so it'll make it easier. But they're in full stock with all the snow and ice melt products, including Mag, Petalo, and Omni the ice pellets and flakes. So get over to Omni True Value Hardware, 631 756 1125 for the best prices in town, omnitruevalue.com. And also brought to you by our new sponsor, Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini. Giannini Landscapers at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631 957 5106. Never too early to think about Christmas. It really isn't. And they will they not only decorate, but if you want to get into the decorating business for the holidays, they have everything like this beautiful looking elf with the candy cane, and I love this one, Joe. Joy with the three snowmen, very apt for what's going on right now. So, wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini, 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631 957 5106. So I got a couple of things I want to say at the top. The first thing is make it stop. Just make it go away.
No, God, please. No,
Make it
no.
stop.
Enough already.
The other thing I wanted to say was,
Very quickly,
yeah,
you don't see it's not too often that you see a winter weather advisory posted for the Bronx, but not for
I,
Westchester or
I
Rockland.
thought exactly that. I was a little surprised that they didn't do it at least for Lower Westchester.
I was surprised
You
too.
know, but this might be one where if the radar starts to shows some activity tonight, and given that it's such a powdery snow, don't be too shocked if they wind up extending advisories a little bit further to the north. I don't know
I
about you.
haven't seen you did do a snow map,
Yes, I did.
and
I
and
have it
so did
here.
I.
I have it here somewhere. If not, I
You want
will.
me to put mine up first or
You can. I just wanted to say, almost down to the day, Joe. This pattern really reminds me of the 1993-94 winter in a lot of ways, because that flipped on a switch right around February 1st, and then it was a bowling alley pattern for February and for March. We had two large events to start it off, and then it was a series of moderate events, light to moderate events, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, one every 2 or 3 days, one after another. And we're dealing with this tonight. We've got potential for something late Saturday night. We have potential for something maybe next Tuesday. So it's scaringly looking like that pattern, which means we may never get a day off until April.
Manuel 349 on the chat board says, I live in the northernmost tip of the Bronx. There's no advisory a few blocks north of me.
Yeah, it's you got to draw the line somewhere,
I know.
and it just neatly fits to draw it either on an interstate or on a border of a county, or yeah, if you live right next to the border, like if you live on a border between Queens and Nassau County, where half you know one foot's in one county's under a winter storm warning, and you put the foot in the other county's under a winter weather advisory. That's happened a few times. But yeah, the line's got to go draw someplace. All right, if you want to start with the snow maps, go right ahead. You put up yours, and then I will put up mine.
Well, here's mine. I think you can already see it
It's
on
on the
on
screen.
and I kind of lost something. What happened? What am I losing
Your
here?
senses.
Anyway, you can see what I'm going for, and I actually had an inch or two across most of Westchester, Rockland County, New York, most of Long Island. The coating to an inch and I live right about here, so I'm right near the line between 1 to 2 and a coating to an inch. And I got to tell you, Joe, the way things have been going for me so far this winter, I'm more likely to get the 1 to 2 as opposed to the coating to an inch. If we get a coating to an inch, maybe just maybe I can actually pull out my leaf blower and blow the powder off my deck tomorrow. But and a lot of this is gonna come after midnight and probably be winding down. I think by about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. This is
Yeah,
going to be an overnight event.
it is, and it's a fluffy. I'm thinking snow ratios maybe 15 to 1 in some class, 14
Yeah,
to 1, 15 to 1.
yeah, very
Temperatures are going
fluffy
to
and
be
definitely snow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
temperatures are going to be sitting pretty much between 20 and 25 through the whole event, so at least it won't be that heavy wet stuff. And of course, I see you have 2 to 4. You drew your line based right along Route 78. Looks like so from Route 78 south, you have 2 to 4. I think the 4 numbers are a good bet south of 195 in New Jersey.
yeah,
My map is not actually that different from yours. It's fairly similar. I usually draw a bigger map further south, so I'll bring that up right now. And there we go. So this is what I did, and I actually had an early call that was almost exactly like yours. And then I just beefed it up a little bit because of snow ratios and the
the
fact
puff
that
factor,
what's that?
the puff factor.
Right, the fluff factor. I beefed it up a little bit because of that. The models have been throwing a couple of extra hundredths on every run. It's been a very methodical increase. The SREF plumes, Joe. Some places 4 inches plus on the SREF plumes, which I was very surprised. I slipped 3. I think it gave the city just under 4, which was I thought was a little bit all right. I mean, it's not impossible if we get a quarter of an inch of liquid, it'll be 4 inches of fluff snow. But I've got that 1 inch line, eastern Long Island to maybe southern Dutchess County, just north of 84. 2 inches, I cut the island in half. I always like to do that. So there you see my 2 inch line. I brought it up a little bit into northern New Jersey. And then I have 3 inches south of 78, 4 inches south of 195, and then a band of 4 plus when you get down into southern Pennsylvania, extreme southeast Pennsylvania, northern Delaware, and back over across into Maryland, and specifically central and western Maryland are under a winter storm warning, while everybody else under winter weather advisory. I just happened to see a live shot on one of the newscasts tonight from Washington just about 20 minutes ago, and it was already snowing there. So uh, some stuff already on our radar. Take a look. I got the beautiful NCAR radar, Joe,
You're
looping
in love with
here, and
you're in love with that radar.
there's
That's
still
great.
there's some echoes already aloft, and there might even be some flurries reaching the ground in parts of Long Island here. I just saw a little green show up on the radar right in there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's showing up a little fast, which is kind of interesting. And let's take a look at the Fort Dix radar because that'll take us a view down to Philadelphia, and you can see some echoes popping up. Again, most of this is aloft in eastern Pennsylvania down into Delaware, and we'll try another one. How about we go to State College in Pennsylvania because the Pennsylvania radar is a bit busier, and you see here this is the solid stuff that is moving eastward, and because of the fact that it's as cold out as it is, this might be. I have to look at the odds. I didn't get a chance to check the odds, but I would bet Joe in some of the in the middle and darker shadings of blue, that snow is reaching the ground. Oftentimes, when you're in, given certain situations, you always look for where the green is to have the steady snow. But being that it is cold, I'm thinking you probably have steady snow in a lot of those blue echoes there that are starting to show up.
I would not doubt that that especially in the deep blue and green, that the snow is indeed reaching the ground, and it's been cold. No, let's face it, the flakes are probably going to stick almost immediately. It only got to 32. It just hit freezing here in Putnam Valley today, and by the looks of things, Joe, that may feel like Florida by this time next week.
Yeah. Mark G points out that Weather Service Upton forecast discussion said the northern zones could go to advisories. We'll reassess with the radar overnight and mention snow ratios of 15 to 1 with the fluff factor. I think that's I think that's our buddy Bill Goodman on shift tonight. And Phil G says that he works for the DOT and I'm killing him or killing them. Well, it isn't me. It's the weather pattern we're in. And yeah, somebody pointed out that we basically have made up now for the last 2 winters. So
Well,
anything from here
tomorrow,
is a bonus. A bonus.
tomorrow, depending upon, well, actually, if it starts tonight before midnight, but let's make it easy on everybody. I'd say that it's tomorrow. 8 out of the last 11 days, starting, including tomorrow, 8 out of the last 11 measurable snow in the tri-state area. And I pulled out my snowblower so far 6 times. I pulled it out 4 times all of last winter. We were only a little more than halfway through the winter, and I've already had it out 6 times. I do not intend to take it out tomorrow. I'm going to try not to. I'm hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that we managed to keep this below an inch, even though it's still kind of a nuisance. But I think you can handle it with a shovel and maybe even try with the leaf blower just to get that stuff off. But the way things have been going for me, as I said, Joe, it seems like I'm always getting more than anticipated. On was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Was it? No,
Yeah,
was it? It was yesterday when we had snow. It's all
it's all
melding
it's
now
all
into my
melding
head.
together.
It's all melding
No,
together.
it was
I
Sunday.
Yeah, no, it was yesterday. It was yesterday, and I'm sitting there and waiting for the
Oh,
snow
right,
to
it was
end.
yesterday. Yes, you had it.
I was
I
waiting
didn't.
for the snow to end. I was saying to myself, all right, it'll end at 3 o'clock, and I'll go out there and start clearing it away. And 3 o'clock comes, and now it's coming down even harder than it's been all day long. I look at the radar, and it looks like it's lifting out, and then all of a sudden, there's like one little blop right over my house that's expanding and getting bigger. I said, hell with it. I just went outside. Oh, it's been incredible this
John
whole winter season.
John Curry says in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, already snowing steadily there. So he's under some of these radar echoes. I just want to acknowledge at the top of the show we have Austin Gaming hitting super chat tonight. Major snowstorm for Sunday and Monday for Oklahoma. Well, we're going to take a look at that next weather system coming out. That's going to affect uh, a rather large area of the U.S. Sunday into Tuesday. And then, of course, we have ours for Saturday and later Saturday night, perhaps. And David Fuller hitting a super chat tonight. Thank you so much, David, from Monmouth County, where they finally broke their snow drought this year. Hey, we're almost at 100 likes, folks. So get us over the top early on in the show, and it'll make Joe and I two very happy campers. I wanted
Yeah,
to also let's just look at the DC radar down in Sterling, Virginia, because I did see some snow there, and you can see there the echoes, rather strong echoes that are passing through the DC area. And as I said, I was watching a newscast about a half an hour ago, and the reporter was outside in the snowflakes that were coming down in the background. So we're loaded up. And we've got a lot of watches and warnings, which I'll get to in a second. I just want to show you the Weather Service's snow forecast map. So you see the sharp cutoff in eastern Connecticut with a coating to an inch, and then it runs up halfway up the Hudson Valley south of Albany, coating to an inch back up around. For a change, Binghamton's only going to get a coating to an inch. But then we start to see these 2 and 3 inch numbers from Long Island, New York City. You head further south, southern New Jersey, southern half of New Jersey, a lot of 4s showing up at Toms River, Philadelphia, Atlantic City, Wilmington, in Delaware, Harrisburg 4, Lancaster 3, Reading 3, York at 4. In Maryland, where the winter storm warnings are up, we've got 6 inches or more being forecast across central and western Maryland. The closer you are to the PA border, the higher those numbers. Then the numbers tail off a bit as you head south into Virginia with some 2 to 3 inch amounts. Now, this is through 1 a.m. on Friday, so the folks in Virginia are probably going to see some more snow during the day on Friday. The second system behind this looks a little bit less ominous than it did yesterday and the day before, so the numbers might be cut back a bit. And then as we go on to the west, the ice is a big issue. The snow, not so much as you move into Ohio, and particularly in southern Ohio, West Virginia, 1 to 3, 2 to 4. But ice is the story here, and
Right.
we'll let the map is going to plot up the ice numbers. But in the let me I'll go. They've already had some. I'm just adding the rest of it here.
It's one big swath from like
Right,
Arkansas
and
to
and here we
Kentucky.
have. I'll let the map load. We'll just look at the watches and warnings that are up. A lot of areas from eastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, southernmost Indiana, into Kentucky. Almost the whole state of Kentucky is under an ice storm warning. The northernmost part of the state under a winter storm warning. Winter storm warnings in western West Virginia. Winter weather advisories surrounding that. Winter weather advisories back through Texas and eastern Oklahoma. Winter storm watches up in central and southern Virginia. And of course, we've got the brutal cold that continues, and that is producing wicked wind chills of minus big double digits, where we have wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings up for the northern plains and the western Great Lakes, and some winter storm warnings up in the Pacific Northwest, as well as in the mountains in western Wyoming, eastern Idaho, northern Utah. And also, not to leave out the Gulf Coast because there's got to be something going on there. We actually have a lot of dense fog tonight for some reason along the Gulf Coast from south, off the Texas coast all the way east and then down the coast, the west coast of Florida, with dense fog advisories showing up inland as well. So busy, busy, busy. Now let's see the ice map. Well, I guess I don't know. I'm missing data. I've been having trouble with this map all night.
Yeah,
These maps
it,
all night long.
you have to
The
wait for it to load or pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, the radar is loaded right now. They're getting really hammered here. Well, you can see on the radar across Kentucky, there's a stripe there of ice, sleet and freezing rain, snow on the northern fringe, rain on the southern fringe, and that's all pushing eastward. And now, of course, some of that moisture obviously is going to be getting in here. You're right about the time for us, though. It's basically from midnight to 7, 8 a.m. for the New York area, and maybe lasting a couple of extra hours further south in southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, and points southward.
I'm sure the people who are enduring with the ice would much prefer being just a tad to the north and having the snow that we're going to be seeing in Pennsylvania, for example. And as you pointed out yesterday, Joe, much better to have 2 feet of snow as opposed to maybe a quarter of an inch of ice. You just can't do anything with ice.
No, you can't. That's the worst of it. And unfortunately, the way things are looking when we get later in the weekend and next week, ice may become a big issue in parts of the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast. But we'll get to that shortly. Just want to acknowledge also Richard Melikar hitting Super Chat tonight, and MH. Thanks for hitting Northern Virginia. Well, you're getting something down there, MH, hitting Super Chat. And JZ Videography hitting super chat tonight. And Joe, he says, you guys are the best. Also, a great inspiration to me when it comes to studying slash chasing weather ever since the New York State Labor Day derechos back in 1998
Oh,
when he was 8 years old. And he's become fascinated with weather. Stay safe, JZ. JZ, thank you so much for your generous hit on super chat tonight. Thank
I
you.
I remember that very well. I was working the morning shift at News 12 Westchester, and then during the afternoon when those things were running through my neighborhood. At that time, I was living in Levittown, Long Island, and Joe, I had a next door neighbor. Actually, I was flanked on both sides of my house by neighbors. The one on the left side, wonderful person. I we just we the kids called her Aunt Joan. Wonderful, wonderful person. And then on the opposite side, the polar opposite of Aunt Joan, somebody who nobody
Uncle Mino.
no, and this woman nobody liked on our block. She was not very pleasant. She was not a very nice person. But during that derecho situation, I mean, I was on the phone. I called up and I was put on live on News 12 Long Island, describing moment by moment how the sky was growing black, the winds were flying every which way, and my next door neighbor, the one that was not very likable, her beach umbrella or her umbrella that she had in the middle of her picnic table came flying up in the air and went across onto my lawn. And I mentioned this to a couple of my neighbors, and I said, "You wouldn't believe it. Marilyn's umbrella flew across onto my lawn." And like one neighbor said, he says, "Really? Was she riding it when it happened?"
Oh, lovely.
This woman was like Elvira Gulch
Elvira
in
Gulch.
in the Wizard of Oz.
Just because you own half the county doesn't mean you have the right to rule the rest of us.
And
For
I tell you,
23 years, I've been dying to tell you what I thought of you.
now
And,
you'll
well,
be a
being a
Christian
Christian
woman.
woman, I can't say it.
But I got to tell you something, JG videography and 8 years old. I mean, you see something like that. Literally, Joe, it was like being in the Wizard of Oz. The sky got black, and I was actually thinking that home, I'm going to see a funnel cloud any minute with that storm. There was that kind of a situation, and that was a very appropriate line by my neighbor about Elvira's umbrella
Yes.
flying over my. All right, well,
Manuel 349 is pointing out that the Weather Service is giving Oklahoma City a high of 9 above 0 for
oh,
Monday. All I
oh,
could say is, Emmanuel, if you're a snow lover, nothing is more depressing than having a high temperature of 9 if you don't have any snow on the ground. So hopefully you'll probably have some snow on the ground to go with it, because if you're going to be that frigid, it might as well have the whole scene complete and put some and put some snow cover on the ground.
you're absolutely right on that because in the movie "It's a Wonderful Life," when uh, Jimmy Stewart is given a chance to see what life would have been without him living. It's snowing very lightly. It looks very pretty. Everything. All of a sudden, the snow stops and the cold winds blow and the snow is gone. And like you say to yourself, what happened? You're right. There's nothing more depressing than having cold and wind and no snow. It's terrible. So yeah, maybe you will get some snow. Although it's sometimes at 9 degrees, it gets a little bit too cold to snow.
Oh, listen. I remember one of my favorite snow experiences, Joe. I forgot. It must have been. I think it was in 2014, where it was heavy. I had heavy snow and it wasn't from a snow squall. It was from a little system like this.
Right.
Heavy snow, big flakes. They were big flakes, and a
Right.
temperature of 6. It was, the water content was nil, and
Oh,
we wound up with half a foot of snow out of that. But when it was about, I'm thinking that the ratios were like 25 to 1. There was so
wow.
much fluff factor, but just to watch it come down was something to see. I've only seen it like that with temperatures that cold a couple of times, but that was the lowest here that
You
I
must have
saw.
like massive amounts of warm air advection moving over
Oh,
the top of a super cold air mass. And in situations like that, you say they were big flakes. Sometimes those flakes can get about as large as silver dollars.
yeah, no.
You know?
They were certainly they were every bit as big as quarters. I will say that.
Yeah.
Looking at the satellite again, sometimes you look at the satellite, you look for that signature spin, that rotation. You're not really seeing it here. You are seeing is this kind of endless stream of moisture that's running from southwest to northeast. This jet with weak lows, and you're sitting close to a boundary of very cold air on one side and relatively warm air on the other, which is in the southeast and in Florida. And for snow lovers, that's really where you want to be. Well, you want to be close to that boundary, and it doesn't really take very much. It's not like any of these lows are intensifying; they're just bringing these areas of moisture along, and again, that's all it takes. And as a result, we are seeing. So yesterday was system number 1. Today is system number 2. Friday, system number 3 will pass by to the south across Virginia and to North Carolina. And then we'll go from there for system number 4, which will be coming out of the Gulf of Mexico for later Saturday, assuming it holds together. But we'll find out about that shortly. Now, WPC, in their infinite wisdom, on their liquid precip map for the next 7 days, showing that inch and a half reaching up almost to New York City, and 2-inch amounts further south, and some 3 and 4-inch amounts in the Carolina mountains, and down into Georgia and into northern Florida. Also seeing a half to 3/4 of an inch all the way back into the Great Lakes, and that's where you start to get into that bitter Arctic air. These folks would be experiencing that the snow with a temperature of 6 in some places. The West, seeing more systems coming into the Pacific Northwest. A lot of rain there, a lot of liquid precip from central California all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. And you can see the impact of the precip in the Rockies and in the Wasatch, with some heavy amounts being indicated here. Of course, most of this is in the form of snow. So winter in full, really running in overdrive here this for these first 10 days of February, and no sign of that breaking down anytime soon. WPC for overnight, they were a little conservative. The northern fringe of an inch. It's not really that far off. That light green is a band of 1 to 2. The darker green is 2 to 4. The darkest green is 4 to 6. And you can see how WPC, this is a 50% probability. So half the time in forecast you'll be above it, half the time you'll be below it. So this kind of splits the difference. And you can see how they have their area of in the 50th percentile of where the 4 to 6 is. And Joe, on the long range, this is Saturday, 10 to 30%. I thought maybe they'd have a bigger area of 30 to 50 showing up, but not yet. But 10 to 30, Northern Virginia to central New England. And then as we move on to Sunday into Monday, quiet. Monday into Tuesday, we start to get the leading edge of 10 to 30. I would tend to think this is probably maybe late Monday or Monday night. And you see a large area. Look how far south the 30 to 50 goes, northeast Texas, and all the way up into the southern lakes, 50 to 70 in southern Illinois, southwest Missouri. And then on Tuesday, that shifts to the northeast, and we're in 30 to 50, which goes down into northern Virginia. 50 to 70, Timothy Veltman. This is your chance here, looking at 50 to 70% probability up through much of upstate New York and interior New England. So that's perhaps an indication that WPC thinks this Tuesday system might be more of an inland runner than as opposed to something that's been on the coast. But a lot of things that we have to do to get before we get there in the atmosphere to maneuver these systems around.
Well, the thing about the system coming up for early next week on Tuesday, and I actually leapfrogged over the potential for a Saturday night Sunday system, but I want to talk about Tuesday because it's such a cold, dense, heavy high, and yet, in spite of that, that Tuesday system looks like it's going to push literally north into that high and possibly maneuver to the west and try to draw in some milder air. It looks like more icy and dicey as opposed to snowy, unfortunately, here in the middle Atlantic and Northeast. And the Saturday night Sunday system looks like, in contrast, Joe, I was kind of hoping that maybe it might take a track closer to the coast. It looks like it may be a bit further out to sea.
Well,
So
that's a Saturday Sunday one.
Saturday night, Sunday, yeah.
Saturday night Sunday. Well, let's look at what the models are doing with all of this, because first off, I was hoping the HRRR, the 0ZHRRR model is just starting to come out now. So it isn't out far. It just barely started. So we'll take a look at the last run of the NAM, which was from 3 o'clock this afternoon, and this is what it says the radar is supposed to look like. So we're already seeing the radar kind of outperforming the models here. So reality is outperforming the models. And here we go as that area continues to expand. This is at 11 o'clock tonight. By midnight, the snow is into New York City and western Long Island, all of New Jersey, all of PA, Maryland, Delaware. And then, of course, it goes on through the night into the early morning hours. A quarter of an inch of liquid here is going to produce about 3 or 4 inches. So most areas are getting about 2/10, 3/10 of liquid. So that's all it really takes. Again, you don't need a big storm. If you got the temperatures with cold enough, you get a little fluff factor and done. 7 a.m., Joe. This is 8 a.m. actually. The snow's just about getting ready to end in New York City and Long Island, but still going central South Jersey, southern PA, down into Maryland. So they get a couple of extra hours of it, which explains the higher amounts. And then you start to see that next one that comes later tomorrow night into Friday morning, and that impacts central Virginia with some snow. Again, looking a little less ominous than it did a day or two ago, and then that moves out. So that takes care of the short range. Short range is pretty easy. And now we'll start to look at Saturday. Now, the NAM, which has had a hot hand, okay, it goes out. The NAM wants to bring what looks like some warm advection here up the East Coast with some snow and sleet. And there's your surface low by 1 a.m. Sunday. I think this is going to be, Joe, this looks a little disjointed in terms of the precip. The precip shield is not the most impressive precip shield in the world.
Right.
So I'm thinking that this is right now not going to be anything major, fingers crossed. Um, and there probably will be some sleet involved. The models are certainly indicating, oddly enough, they got sleet and then the sleet disappears. I'm assuming that's sleet and not a band of heavy snow um, because the colors are so close. But I think it's sleet, and then it just goes over to snow. So maybe that initial burst of sleet and warm advection winds up cooling the atmosphere down again, and we go back to snow. Central New Jersey up into southern New England, more rain down southern New Jersey coast and down into eastern Virginia.
Well, I tell you, that's really fast. I wanted to be. Hmm. Oh dear. I'm supposed to visit my mom and sister in Throg's Neck on Saturday, and I said, yeah, Saturday looks like the day, and now it looks like Saturday may not be the day. Now it looks like it's going to be snowing by 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday.
Does seem so. The slow's coming up, and then it starts to slide out. So I'm thinking by Sunday morning it should be done. My question is, you do see freezing rain being indicated here down in Virginia and Maryland, and into central New Jersey, southeast PA. Uh, your point is well taken about this bitter cold air and this high. The high is going to be trying to press that cold air down and holding it down, particularly at the lower levels of the atmosphere. So this may be a prelude to what happens on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, you figure that they'd all be on a conveyor belt, although the Tuesday system may have a little bit more oomph to it in the upper atmosphere, which may try to make it, dig a little further to the north and into that cold air. And from what I've been seeing, the models are trying to suggest that the primary system, I'm not sure if there's going to be a secondary, but the primary definitely to our west and may be bringing us more of an ice as opposed to a snow situation. It'll be something to
or
watch.
or a snow to ice
Yeah.
combination. I don't know. There's still a few models out there, including the parallel GFS and the Canadian, that are trying to induce more of a east side the Appalachians versus the west side of the Appalachians. I think it really is going to depend on the vortex up to the north and how that big this is a heavyweight dome of Arctic air. How the models react to all of this remains to be seen. Um, I, there's plenty of time for things to move around. So I'll run through. We'll go through the GFS, which pretty much has the same idea. See how the GFS is bringing this precip up Saturday evening. It's kind of, for some reason, it's got a dry hole there in New Jersey and southern New England. It's got precip to the northwest, precip to the southeast, but nothing in the middle. I don't know why it's doing that. And
I mean,
then
you wouldn't think that we would get by later Saturday afternoon any precip. First of all, I'm looking at the GFS, the height anomaly for 500 millibars, and we're right in smack in the middle of the
we're
center of a ridge of high
yeah,
pressure.
we're in a ridge position.
Yeah.
And that ridge position is going to going to warm things up aloft over time. So yeah, it's a very interesting place to be, uh, getting precip in a ridge position in the wintertime when you're dealing with a cold dome of Arctic air. It's not a good place to be. It really isn't. Meanwhile, look at this. This is from Sunday. Manuel on the chat board was talking about Oklahoma. A lot of snow being indicated here by the GFS anyway. That's some of the energy for Tuesday. There's your big 1048 high, 480 thick. Is that a 480 or a 492? I can't see. I think that's a four. Oh, it's a 492 thickness. That's bitter cold, sitting there in the western lakes and in the northern plains. But a lot of snow, Joe. Look, New Mexico, North Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, northern Arkansas, Missouri, southern Kansas. You've got rain in the coastal southeast down into Florida. And yeah, here comes a low in southern Mississippi. Your high is trying to banana across the top, the low level cold air wedging down into the Carolinas there with freezing rain and sleet. So and look here, right here, you got a high up in Vermont, New Hampshire. You got a high up in Minnesota. The storm is trying to sort of move up the west side of the Appalachians, going right in between. This has ice storm written all over it for somebody. I
Yes,
I really do. I think this could be, we don't get ice storms too often, but this does to me have ice storm written on it.
absolutely.
Look at well,
Especially especially if the primary goes up and then as just as it's about to turn over from ice to rain in the local New York City area, we get a secondary that forms south of Long Island, which cuts off any more warm air advection and keeps it as sleet and ice
right,
for us.
which was what the GFS is hinting at here, right here. Look, here's
Yeah.
your here's your
You can see how
secondary
the
right
isobars
there.
are they're getting baggy, so to
Yes,
speak.
and the high, the high is got it's trying to wedge right down in there into eastern PA. We got to be a little careful here because this could turn out to be a serious, certainly for inland areas certainly, and maybe even for some coastal areas, Long Island, coastal Connecticut, because the wind is going to be coming down from New England in this sort of scenario, and that could hold the temperatures down below 30 or even in the 20s. You'd be surprised how cold the low levels can stay in a case like this. And then it
Well,
lifts on up. You finally get one low sitting just southeast of Cape Cod by the time we get to late Tuesday night, early Wednesday. And then I think next Wednesday we might have a day off.
yeah.
I think we might have a day off. Except that there is another one firing up. Look at this. Here's another one, and this is for late next week. And the GFS wants to bring it up the west side of the Appalachian,
Yeah.
almost similar to the
And
one on Tuesday.
again,
I would just say this, because when I looked at the other models, I looked at the parallel, looking at uh, the European and the GFS are fairly close because when with the upper air, there's your there's the short wave. You see that thing in the southwest? That short wave winds up lifting. We're in a ridge position here. That short wave winds up lifting up toward the Great Lakes. So you have a very identifiable shortwave feature going to the west. One of the things that the parallel GFS, and I don't know if he's got it in here. No, he doesn't. It's on Pivotal, but I can at least get the Canadian if it's going to let me. Now suddenly it doesn't want to let me. Hold on. Let's see. Reload here. Let's go. Let's try it this way. Okay. It didn't want to link back, but if we go to the Canadian on the 500, instead of lifting that southern shortwave, Joe, it just kind of shears it shears it out to the east. So this is, sorry, we're going through the weekend. There's your southern shortwave feature. See, it doesn't right there. That instead of going back to the lakes, it just kind of shears out and goes, starts to move into that ridge position, so that the Canadian winds up with this. The Canadian and the parallel GFS, although the parallel GFS was a little weaker, instead of taking the low up the west side of the Appalachians, it takes it up the east side of the Appalachians, which makes a big difference for snow for the northern mid Atlantic states of southern New England. And then it runs the low out to the east northeast.
well, I'll tell you something. I prefer the more easterly track, not because I simply prefer more snow than ice. The last thing I think we need is an ice storm. So we'll see if in future runs maybe the high will have a more dominant factor in helping to nudge low a little bit more to the east and south as opposed to coming further north and west of our area. And I do have another map to show you, Joe. This is from the folks over at the Climate Prediction Center.
Also, okay, Joe. Yeah, and after that, bring up the European. Let's look at the European
All right.
for this event and for Saturday. You bring up the maps. I just want to really quick acknowledge that Sal Blandino is on the board.
Yes, and
Sal,
he's
this
asking.
is really a bad time to want nice weather for more than 24 hours, considering the pattern. He said, we need to ruin the pattern. Okay, I don't like snow, but I hate the doom and gloom look, as well as rain. Plus, it's been ugly every Tuesday since January 26th. We need the pattern to stop constantly. And then I guess he ran out of characters because they only let you write 200 characters on a message. Sal, this is, we're in a bowling alley pattern. I have no idea how long it's going to last, but I love that you're on the chat board tonight. And I'm very happy that you're here because we all love you. We do.
Well,
Um,
he had other messages, Joe, other comments further up. Why is it never possible, says Mr. Blandino, for New York City and Long Island and the coastal areas to get a snow with a cutter type low that heads for the Great Lakes from the south? Why must that low be tracking under us and then he got cut off here, just off the coast for any wintry precip to be on the coast and the city and Long Island? And then he adds further down, why also is it not possible for the cold air to be in the city or coast with a cutter low? And then he brings in the name of somebody else here in the media outlet. If Tuesday is right, Lee Goldberg on Channel 7 already is saying it might turn to rain in the afternoon, and is even saying any system late next week is looking warmer. I'd hate that. Rain is all, and he gets cut off again. I think that's the one that you just mentioned. All we need
yes.
to ruin this pattern. Okay, I don't like snow, but I hate the gloom and doom. It's been ugly every
But we
Tuesday since
make the
January
but we
26th.
Joe, you and I make the gloom and doom so enjoying, don't we?
Oh, we bring a magic to the gloom and
We
doom.
do, we do. Now
Yes,
go to the Climate Prediction Center.
yes. Well, for all of you who are snow lovers, this might, I say might, put a smile on your face. They are saying um, a slight chance of heavy snow in that purple zone that you see encompassing much of the Northeast. Of course, not New York and Long Island, Joe, so you're out of it. But
Right.
I'm just right on the line here. So this entire area, and this is now for February 18th through the 20th. So that's late next week. That bypasses the weekend system. That bypasses the Tuesday system. This is the one that comes after the Tuesday system later next week, say Thursday, Friday, or whatever. So they're already looking at that as possibly providing the risk of some significant snowfall, the
By the
risk of
way,
heavy snow.
I read something from Larry Cosgrove today. He says he thinks that this pattern with just some mild interruptions where you get a little bit of moderation for a day or two is probably going to hold into early April.
Really?
That's what he thinks with regards to the negative NAO and everything that's going on up in the Arctic and all the rest of it. That this is a this is a long term block that we're in. It's not one of these that come setups
Hold
that
it.
include some blocking. This is not something that goes away. After a couple of weeks, this is something that might last 6 to 7 or 8 weeks,
All right.
according to
I, I
him.
am I'm being informed by numerous people on the chat board
That
that that map that I just showed wasn't
Well,
evident. It
that's
wasn't
my
visible.
fault. I didn't switch. Okay,
How dare you?
I know, Joe. I'm like,
Here I'm trying to bring some happiness into the snow lovers out
I
there,
know. Go ahead.
and you're not even sharing this
It's all
happiness.
yours. You have to. Yeah, you got to remind me because I start doing other things. I was reading the chats. I was reading all the hidden chats from people
All
who
right.
come on here and just
So
waste their time.
as we were saying, this whole area encompassed by this stippling of, is that the term? Stippling or dotting of purple. All of this, there's a slight risk, according to the Climate Prediction Center, of heavy snow. That would run from February 18th to the 20th. This is not, repeat, this is not the system that we're looking at tomorrow, obviously. It's not the system we're looking at for Saturday night, Sunday. It is not even the thing that we're looking at for possibly Tuesday of next week. This is the thing that jumps all the way to the latter part of next week. So they're already looking at that as possibly producing some significant snowfall in and around much of the Northeast. Joe, as I said earlier, Long Island's not in here, so you're out of it. New York is out of it, and I'm like right on the line, right on the limit between
Because the line is
something and
going to be,
nothing.
because the line a week to 10 days from now is going to be exactly where they put it.
Yes,
Correct?
yes,
Exactly.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
so,
Well, this is why up in the upper left, there you see the word experimental. So
yes.
they're experimental Prague for, more than a week from now, suggesting that this whole area could be encompassed by some heavy snowfall, and we'll have to just wait and see on that.
So while you're loading up the European, I want to acknowledge a new member on the chat board, I Capping, who wants me to check the weather in India. I think that's India's weather. He said is the request, and I just pulled up. I'll bring it up on the screen. You can find these maps on Tropical Tidbits. Now I'm wondering, I'm guessing, looking at the map, Joe, that it must be the dry season in India, which it's a little hard to see on this map because
Yes,
there's so much geography, but it's right in here,
yes.
and it is the dry season because
February is most definitely.
yeah,
I,
because
I only remember, and strange why I remember this. There was a total eclipse of the sun in India back in February of 19, I think it was 80 or 82. And a friend of mine, Al Seltzer, he invested in a trip to India. And I said, "Why are you going to India?" And he says, "Well, there's absolutely no reason to be worried about the weather. It never rains. It's always sunny in India in February." And sure enough, he was right. He said, as soon as he landed there, the skies were blue, the sun was out,
yeah.
and there was not a drop of rain.
Well,
So,
I'm looking here on the GFS for the next at least the next 10 days, and there's nothing. And
yes,
well, there's some showers start to appear uh, uh, around day 7, well inland, just a little bit, and then a little bit more in the second week. So, but there's the vast majority of India is dry. So we'd like to accommodate here. Thank you for being on the board. I hope you subscribe to the channel, by the way. All right, so you get the European up. Let me switch
up.
back for you.
It should be up.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to switch off and we'll put the new European on. And well, is this starting? Where do you have the first day? I can't see.
This is initialized 18Z, and this would be valid as of 0Z. This is an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Oh,
So,
okay. So, well, it looks like the radar's already outperforming what the European has. So let's run it through tonight and into tomorrow.
okay, so this is here's 7 p.m. tonight, 1 a.m., 7 a.m., and it looks like the
Ooh, look
green,
at that. That's 2/10 of an inch of liquid.
yeah, the green is the first band of green, the light green, is 0.15 to zero point 0.2. And then down in the middle of all of this, down here, let's see, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's zero point 0.3 to 0.35 inches right down here
Well,
over.
if that verifies, that's all snow. That with the fluff factor, that's going to be 5 inches down there in that time frame, in that
Yeah,
6 hour time frame.
yeah, no question, no
Yeah,
question. And
and
but but the 540 is, you look how precariously close the 540 is. So maybe it's not
yeah.
necessarily a puffy snow, but still it looks like snow going down there. Don't go to the boardwalk tomorrow. There's not going to be any walking if there's all of that white stuff. Here's this is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Look how quickly that thing lifts out and moves away to the east.
Okay. All right.
7 o'clock
Now switch to the U.S. view so we could see how it comes out of the Gulf for Saturday.
U.S. Da, 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 da. Okay, so this right here is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. This is 7 p.m. tomorrow night, 1 a.m. Friday morning. This is 7 a.m. on Friday morning, 1 p.m. on Friday, 7 p.m. on Friday, 7 a.m. on Saturday, and this is 7 p.m. on Saturday evening.
So it's got precip just maybe into central New Jersey from what I see.
Right. And
So
then we get up to 1 a.m. on Sunday. All the good stuff seems to stay just off to the south,
right,
although they do have this one blob of green,
right.
which indicates maybe about 2/10 of an inch over in southeast Pennsylvania, just probably over Harrisburg and just to the west of Philly.
Okay. Well, the European seems to want to slide it a little bit more to the east than the NAM, but oftentimes the NAM will follow the European. I've noticed at least in the last week that I've started to really paying attention to this. That the 18Z European comes out, and the NAM that follows kind of goes in the same sort of direction. So maybe when the new NAM comes out for Saturday, it will shift to the east. However, I will also point out that the NAM has a hot hand right now. It's absolutely on fire as a forecast tool. So uh, I would respect it if the NAM comes out and still shows precip up near the coast or just inland of the coast. I would lean in that direction until proven otherwise. That's kind of how that's how my mind is working right now.
And this up here, Joseph, is a 486 thickness right
So
up
that's
here.
that bitter cold high that's going to set, and it only goes out to 90 hours, so we can't see
Right,
beyond that. But
right.
uh, it certainly shows, that big high is going to be such a player through the weekend and into next week. No doubt about it. So uh, our
And
attention's going to be
interestingly,
focused in many different directions.
7 a.m. on Sunday, and look where they have the 540 positioned, just north of New York City
Right,
on
because
South Touchstone.
because of the ridge position, the upper levels are going to warm. The bottom levels will not.
Right.
If we looked at temperatures on Sunday, I bet you're going to probably see 20s in a lot of places,
Well,
even though
let's
the
see.
540 is as far north as it is.
Let's take a look at operational here, and would you like to see surface temperatures?
Yeah, I'd be curious as to what it has on Sunday morning.
Now, unfortunately, the scale is kind of small, but I think you can see that the 32-degree line as of 7 a.m. on Sunday is positioned just to the south. This is um, this is 20. So it seems like New York City is somewhere between 20 and 32.
Okay.
So probably something like 25, 26 on Sunday morning.
And
And here's 50.
you would think with that high building in some that we'd have some cold advection going on during the day Sunday. So
And
maybe
up
we'll just
here you
stay in the
see
20s.
and here you see minus 25 up here.
Oh, bitter.
So don't want to go there. Chicago, 5 below 0,
I
which
just
is
want
one
to
reason why I never went to Chicago.
right. I want to check because I think we should have enough of it out. Is the H triple R model, which has not exactly been hitting home runs lately. So I just want to I just want it's only out to 20 hours, but at least it'll take us through this first event anyway. And let me just roll it back. I mean, it's been very consistent with the NAM today. So here's the bulge overnight. The timing is about the same, about midnight. Actually, a little, maybe an hour faster because it has it snowing on Long Island between 11 p.m. and midnight, and then it continues all night. This is at 7 a.m. Look how that sharp cutoff just north and west of New York City sinks southward and moves out. Precip overnight. Accumulated precip is it's hard to see. I mean, it looks like maybe somewhere between on Long Island back to New York City, maybe about 1500ths to 2/10. So let's say 1500ths. So that would be somewhere between 2.5 inches, and then you've got 3/10 and 4/10 touching the New Jersey coast. So that would be where your 4 inches might work down from central New Jersey on southward, then also through southern PA and over up into Maryland. But the HRRR has not been nearly as good as a forecast tool with these snowstorms recently as the NAM has been. The NAM has been so good, and you know people. So somebody occasionally, somebody every once in a while, somebody will call me a model hugger. That's not just because I'm giving kudos to the NAM and using it. is not a question of hugging. It's a question of recognizing which model is working at the time. Because believe me, if the GFS were working or the European were working better, I would I try to figure that out, and I would gravitate to that. And you use it. Things. The trend is your friend until it isn't. And I'm a firm believer of that. You just you follow it along, and it'll be interesting to see too, Joe. Bullseye zones this year have been up in northern New Jersey, so let's watch and see if tonight. I defy it to produce a jackpot zone in northern New Jersey with this situation, because if it does, then I think everybody else is in trouble too.
It's going to
Given
be
the setup and how it's more to the south than to the north.
well. Like I said, I'll be interested to see waking up. This is the kind of situation I'd sometimes have when I was on television. I'd assure everybody, don't worry about it. It looks like we're only going to get a coating. And you wake up the next morning, there's like 3 inches of snow. And then again, a Gomer pile. Surprise, surprise,
Surprise,
surprise.
surprise.
Yes.
All right, so I think we've kind of looked at everything. There's so I guess we have to just sit back and wait, and we'll do a post mortem tomorrow,
Yes.
and then start
That means we're
folk.
not, that means we don't get a day off tomorrow.
Well, I don't think so, because we've got Saturday and then early
I
next
know
week
we got
staring us in the
Saturday and next
face.
week and whatever, and we can't do it.
I know. I hear
We
you,
gotta,
Joe. Believe me,
we gotta,
I've been nonstop since the end of since January 28th or 9th. I've been pretty much nonstop every day with everything we've had to deal with. Well, you too. You too. uh,
How about Saturday? Do we have a day off on Saturday, or is that
well, not if we're
no?
going to have snow and sleet Saturday afternoon and night. We could do it early on Saturday. We could do it at noontime.
If I'm supposed to be at my mom's house later that day,
Yeah.
then it would have to be at
All
noontime
right,
or
so
there.
we could temporarily set it up for. I would prefer personally. I would prefer it to be in the middle of the day, so at least it'll give me some time to watch whatever it is we're going to get later
Right,
Saturday and Saturday night.
right.
So once again, just a big thank you. I am having a tough time here. Hang on one second.
Well, thank you
Uh,
for the 181 likes, number one,
Correct.
for tonight. And
And I have to just kind of step over the camera here so I can see what I'm doing. David Fuller, Awesome Gaming, Steve Lapointe, MH, Richard Melikar, and JZ Videography. Thank you all for hitting Super Chat tonight. Uh, Most appreciated by both Joe and I. And also, we have, right now we have just under 400 viewers, which is terrific, and we thank you all for being here. Both every those of you who are here every day, and all of you new folks. Although we're still missing Smart Amat.
will,
I'm starting to
will
get
Shimon ever
worried
show
now.
up again?
I'm starting to get very concerned because it's ever since that fluke snowstorm at the beginning of February, followed by the fluke snowstorm last Sunday. Um, no sign of Smart Amat.
And Sal Blandino has the final word. So the weekend system trended to Saturday rather than Sunday. That's great news. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, but we'll be back tomorrow night to tell you that it went the other way. Uh, I'm such a meanie. The Joe and Joe Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware. Remember, they are going to be open at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you got your snowplow crew and you need rock salt or any of the snow melt products, 4 a.m. at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number. The website omnitruevalue.com. And also the Joe and Joe Show brought to you by our new sponsor, which is Wholesale Holiday Lightning by Giannini of Giannini Landscapers, and their telephone number is 631 957 5106. They are at 162 Ocean Drive in Lindenhurst. And either you have decorating needs, or maybe you want to become a decorator and perhaps have it as a business for next Christmas. Contact Wholesale Lighting by Giannini, and they will help you through the process. So, We will be back tomorrow night.
You would know if Omni does Omni do they sell the brine that they use on the roads? I always thought that would be a great thing to have.
You know what? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to ask. I'll have to call and ask him.
Find that out. I might be interested in something. There's nothing that my wife would love to get, but a delivery of a 55-gallon, you know, can
A
of
brine,
can of brine. What are you going to do with that? Oh, I don't know. Next time we have a steak,
brine of turkey.
I'll just open it up with a can opener and just dump the whole thing down the driveway.
Good Lord. And have DEC on your back.
Yes.
All right. Uh, he's not doing that. In case you're watching, he's not doing. He's joking. He's joking.
I'm joking. I'm
Okay.
joking.
Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the snow. Take some time to enjoy the snow. You weather folks, the weather geeks that are on the board, pull your heads away from the computer while it's snowing and actually kind of look out the window and enjoy it, because you'd be surprised how a number of them don't do that. So make sure you watch it, because that's the point. You want to see it. You want to see it coming down.
Sal, please, enough. No such luck, my friend. The storm looks like it's trended to Saturday now instead of Sunday, Valentine's Day, Sunday. Please, whatever happens, happens, Sal.
Yes. Good night, Sal. Good night, Joe. Good night, everybody.
Good night.